Am I the asshole for refusing to babysit my step-siblings? I, 15 female, am an only child and for a while it was just me and my dad, but around 4 months ago his girlfriend moved in. They had been dating previously but her moving in seemingly came out of nowhere. She had 2 kids, 6 female and 8 female, which would be moving in full-time with us, since their dad was out of the picture. I was extremely anxious about this but my dad assured me that they wouldn't be an issue and our spare room would become their room, which they would share. When they moved in, at first it wasn't too bad. They were being shy since they didn't really know me that well, although after about a month it had turned into quite literal hell. All day every day was full on child screams, bitching and moaning and they got everything. My dad favored them. After about 2 months-ish, I showed the smallest amount of competence with kids and all of a sudden I'm the babysitter. It started off with only taking care of them barely of occasional date nights, but since the school holidays, my dad and his girlfriend were out for every day of the holidays except 7 days. The holidays were 6 weeks long. One of them being Rose's birthday. Another being Christmas. I had to cancel all my plans, I didn't see my friends at all. And I was furious, so after the girls had gone to sleep I went out to have a talk to my dad about it. I told him how upset I was that I was the babysitter, that I didn't get to see my friends at all and a more minor thing I didn't get a single cent for it. When I did the occasional babysitting, I didn't mind at all. But I wasted my whole holidays. I did not get the answer I expected. He told me I was ungrateful, that I'm exaggerating and that if I have an issue I can move in with my mother. For a brief history. She is currently in a mental health hospitality healing from past issues that aren't worth explaining here. I immediately got those stingy eyes and the feeling if I said anything more I'd cry. I went back to my room and not even an hour later my dad's girlfriend wanders her way into my room and proceeds to passive-aggressively say the same stuff. On the first day back of school. I made plans with my friend and messaged my dad that I'd be home late and he responded saying that I needed to come home immediately and watch over my sisters. I ignored the message and went with my friends anyway. When I got home he was furious BC I made him miss an outing with his friends. I wish I told him to kick rocks but I didn't and let him yell at me before going to my room. To be honest I don't feel like it's going to get any better. I feel as if my dad doesn't care about me anymore but to be honest part of me feels as if I am in the wrong, so am I the asshole? Update. Thank you to everyone for the reassurance and advice. I will be calling my aunt to talk to her about letting me stay with her till my mum gets out of hospital. And until I can stay with her, although my school doesn't have many after-school activities, lucky for me my dad know little to nothing about my school so it'll be easy to fake a note or something. It's currently Saturday for me so I have to wait till Monday to do the fake note. As for contacting CPS, I know a lot of you advised me to and although I'm thinking about it. It's extremely hard. It just seems like such a depressing thing to have to do even if I know it's the right thing. And I genuinely just don't think I have the mental strength to do that. I am now aware I won't be take away just the whole idea of calling CPS on a guy who used to be in great dad as RLLY upsetting. IRLLY will try to if it gets any worse. Update 2. It's Sunday today and I had a talk with my aunt. I explained it all to her and asked if I could stay with her. She said OFC I can but there would definitely be some legal stuff involved so next weekend I'm going to stay with her just for 2 days. My dad knows and although he was reluctant, since my aunt asked, he went with it. I just have to get through the school week and I'll be set. I still don't know when, if I'll be able to stay with her full time but I am excited for the weekend. Thank you all again and I will continue to update when possible. Tell someone at your school. A teacher or another member of staff. Get CPS involved. Oh, sweetheart, you are most definitely not the asshole. When I read the title I was expecting an entitled teenage rant, but this is a bad situation you are in. Do you have another family you can talk to about maybe staying with a few nights a week to get a break? It's sad, because I'm pretty sure your father is going to permanently damage your relationship if you don't get some relief and a little bit of consideration. Just a question, would them paying you make a difference, and if so, how much money would it take to make that difference? Not the asshole. Your dad and his girlfriend need to understand that her kids aren't your responsibility. You are still a child yourself and you have a lot to experience, not to mention your dad is a big asshole for suggesting you go to your mother knowing she might, or is, incapable of taking care of you right now. I hope you can figure this out and best wishes. Not the asshole the girlfriend managed before they moved in, they can manage again. Google parentification, it's a form of abuse. Not the asshole X1000. I don't have advice for you except to stick to your guns and refuse to watch the children. If your dad will really throw you out of the house, then you have your answer. He cares more about having a good time with his girlfriend than your safety and well-being. Good luck, op. This is really rough and I feel for you. Less than 3. If he's gonna force you to play babysitter, then get him to pay you the regular fee of $21–30 an hour per child, or you can continue to not answer your messages. That's his kid, not yours. Not the asshole, but your father is a huge one. NTA. This is the kind of stuff my sister did to her daughter. You are not there to be the live-in nanny. I am sorry you don't have the support to leave the situation. Your dad is an a-hole, at least in this situation. Tell him outright they are not your siblings and that you are not responsible for them. He made a choice to take on the extra responsibility, you did not. Not the asshole. While a once in a while maybe watch them for like 30 minutes or something is okay. Both dad and girlfriend seem to be using you as a free sitter. Unfortunately there isn't much you can do since you are a minor. You might just have to stick to your guns here and tell them that you aren't going to watch the younger ones anymore. Am I the asshole for spending money without telling my husband? Throwaway, because my main is obviously me. So my husband, 40, and I, 25, share a bank account. There are 3 kids in the house including my newborn. I didn't take any maternity, just kept working. I am also the baby's exclusive caregiver. He does stuff for older kids. A few pieces of information. I started a business about 5 years ago that ended up working out really well. Don't worry, it's a real service-based business, not an MLM or something, haha. 3 years ago my husband decided he wanted to stop working and stay home with me, so he did. Shortly after that he wanted us to merge bank accounts. I also want to put here, only because it's relevant, that I bring in a high 5 figures that allows us to be comfortable where we live. We aren't rich by any means, but we aren't struggling either. Another year he started making budgets, weekly ones and then ones to buy things he thinks we needs, various gear, tools, etc. He also controls how much we save, etc. If I spend any money it comes out of the weekly budget and I have to tell him and round up, even if it's $1. So if I spend $1.58 I spent $2. Literally every single penny I put out has to be reported to him. It's very stressful. It also makes buying things for our kids hard, because even though we have tons of money outside his budgets I can't touch any of it, so I have to squeeze things they need into the weekly. So last week I went out and I spent $20. I came home and I forgot about it. He noticed and got really upset. He was like, "This is unacceptable. Why are you trying to destroy the family, etc." About a year and a half ago I got in trouble for spending a few times without telling him, culminating in about $200 of missing money. I had to sell some of my things to make it up. He forensically examined the bank account and didn't find anything else I had spent without telling him, but he's still feeling very righteous in his upset. So am I the asshole? I know budgets are normal, but I feel this is a bit much. Edit. Could anyone share what their budgeting system looks like if you're married, living together? Edit for clarity. All 3 kids are mine. I don't know why I wrote it weird, I'm sorry. Edit also. What I said about having to pay to visit my mom. Basically she wanted me and my kids to come up for a weekend, but she lives kind of far away, so I needed to take 1 day off to make it worth the drive, but he wasn't pleased about that. Bad terms with my mom. Especially because we had recently taken 2 weeks off after I gave birth. So basically he said we could go, but if my mom gave me the money to make up the average amount I would have made working that day, so that it didn't affect us if I took a day off. Edit. I think the admins could maybe lock this? I've taken up enough of everyone's time, though I deeply appreciate the level of response here, I really do. Edit. I'm so overwhelmed, and genuinely it's really humanity redeeming that so many people seem to care and 99% are extremely kind. Thank you. I'm sorry I'm not replying to more comments, I just am processing. Too long, did not read. My husband has a very strict budget system that requires me to report everything from $1 up. I forgot on a $20 spend. Am I the asshole? You're a businesswoman and breadwinner in your mid-20s with children. If I can be blunt, it's time to stop being a doormat. Tell him point blank that you want discretionary spending autonomy, and it's ridiculous that he's counting your pennies. Tell him you'll both assess spending when it breaches a number like $500. Also tell him it's not up for debate because you're sick of it. Stop letting him steamroll you. Not the asshole. Not the asshole in any way, shape or form. WTF. How are you allowing this to happen? His bullshit about destroying the family for simple buying the kids $20 worth of things? He brings nothing to the table either? This is obviously an abusive relationship. Not the asshole financial abuse, age difference is huge so he'll leverage that against you. Get out whilst you can. Lawyer, any nanny, up, delete Facebook, hit the gym, cocktail bar. And take a holiday somewhere in a hotel with a swim-up bar because those are the bomb. Not the asshole. This is an abusive situation. Budgets should be a joint decision in a marriage. He is controlling you. Not only does this allow him to control what you do, but I can imagine that it makes it difficult for you to go out with friends in any meaningful sense, even for a coffee. 40 and 25? He's with someone so much younger because he is a predator. You're being used and financially abused. Not the asshole. Honey, you need a really good divorce lawyer. He's not working, you bring home the bacon but he tells you how to spend the money. Not the asshole. He's being super financially controlling, which is abuse. The fact that you're the one making all the money and taking care of the kids but he gets to budget you within $20 of your life? No ma'am, you get your own bank account and give him an allowance. He can budget himself all he likes. Not the asshole. Your husband is financially abusing you. You're the sole breadwinner and he's making you sell your belongings to pay him back. He's also a sod who doesn't take care of one of your kids. Divorce him. Am I the asshole for telling my stepdaughter to leave? This is a throwaway. My stepdaughter is 17 and I married my wife when SD was 13. We have a daughter who is 3. My SD does not know her dad and has never met him. My wife really struggled to make ends meet so my SD didn't grow up with much and I know she was bullied for it. My wife busted her ass and there were times she went hungry so SD could eat. Things are better now with 2 incomes. My SD get along but we are not close and she told me she is happy for her mom. 2 nights ago, my SD had a breakdown. She was sobbing and could barely breathe. Like it was bad. She told her mom that she wished that she was never born and that her mom should have had an abortion. She said it's so unfair that everyone was so mean to her because she never had anything when she was little and it was so hard not having any friends. She said it's not fair that she has to watch my daughter get everything while she struggles with not knowing if she will be able to afford college. I will be paying. She said she's tired of going on vacations that catered to the baby and that she wants to go on a vacation for her. She said she was clearly the F-up child and that my daughter was the redo baby and that it was cruel to make her watch. She said it was not fair that she had to be born and know that she was not as worth it. She called her mom a W for sleeping with a deadbeat and getting pregnant so young, 18. She has never shared anything like this before and we're shocked. My wife was sobbing. I was angry because it was obvious my wife did her best and her life has been better for the past 4 years. I told her to leave the house until she could calm down and she went to my cousin's house. My cousin grew up with a single mom and bonded with SD. She still hasn't returned and won't speak to us and my wife is miserable. My cousin said it was wrong to kick out a child who was clearly distressed. So am I the asshole? Edit. I didn't mean for her to not come back. By leave, I meant to go on a walk, run just until she calmed down so that we could talk. I didn't mean for her to go to my cousin's home and not come back. Edit 2. She has always been grateful. So messages attacking her character are out of hand. It's clear I dealt with the situation wrong and I do love her so there is no need to attack her because I, the only one who knows her, can tell you she has a good heart. Edit 3. Going to see her right now. Edit 4. Got her to come home and she told us a lot about what happened in those years that she was hiding from her mom because she didn't want her to worry. I feel awful. Going to take care of her for the rest of my life. They lived in a very bad area and the woman who used to watch her had sex for money while SD was there. Her teachers have said horrible things to her. Her classmates' parents never let their kid be friends with her. Kids at school used to take her lunch and told her she better get used to not eating. Someone told her it's good that she's good at gymnastics because maybe she'll get into college or use her flexibility to have another job. I am sick to my stomach. There's more. OFC, she's traumatized. So instead of talking to her about her worries and comforting her, and making sure she knows you love her just as much as your other child, you told her to leave. Basically, deal with this yourself. Calm down. Dude. You are the asshole. She's struggling and needs to know she's wanted, so you do the opposite. You are the asshole. She was trying to open up to you, and instead of trying to understand where she's coming from, you threw her out? WTF is wrong with you? She's still just a kid. You are the asshole. You help a child in crisis. You don't send them away. You need to get your stepdaughter into therapy. You need to make her understand that both you and your wife value her. You can fix this. But only if you try. You are the asshole. She became an unpaid babysitter and doesn't have the years of financial or emotional security that her step-sibling has. She needed empathy, counseling and reassurance from the adults in her life. Instead her mother started crying without engaging her and her total the asshole of a stepfather threw her out, immediately validating her fears. Well done. You two couldn't have FCOED this up any worse. You are the asshole x10. Like you know she has had a rough childhood, and it 100% sounds like she is being treated extremely different than your biological daughter. Let alone even if she is happy you are with her mom, that is a rough thing in and of itself. You 100% need to find her, apologize for being in massive A and try and figure out what it would take to make it up, and show her that she means as much as your actual daughter, like planning a vacation that she wants sounds like a good start, as well as assuring her Yiunave her back on college. You very much handled this that complete opposite of how it needed to be done, and you I guarantee made her feel like she mattered even less, as well as told her she could not trust you to be there for her. You are the asshole. I didn't mean for her to not come back. By leave, I meant to go on a walk, run just until she calmed down so that we could talk. I didn't mean for her to go to my cousin's home and not come back. So what? You told her to leave. You didn't talk with her, or let her calm down in the home. You just kicked her out. Your stepdaughter needs professional counseling that specializes in blended family struggles and relations. Your stepdaughter is clearly not mentally stable, and you made her symptoms worse by kicking her out, even if it was just for a time of less than a night. She told you and your wife that she feels worthless in your home, and you essentially confirmed it by telling her to leave. You are the asshole. Your stepdaughter confessed to literal suicidal ideation and you kicked her out. Apologize immediately and get the poor girl into therapy. For sticking up for your wife? No. For telling her lashing out especially at people who love you and care about you? No. For reminding her she's essentially disposable? Oh yeah, definitely you are the asshole. Life has thus far kicked her repeatedly and enthusiastically when she's down, and now her new daddy has reinforced that if she rails against the slings and arrows of outrageous misfortune you'll toss her aside. Not the lesson you want her to absorb right now. You've chosen to be a character in the story of her life and you've got to decide what role you'll play. Will you be the person who gave her the chance to be her best self, or will you be another figure in her life that betrays and belittled her? Your choice, op. Please make a good one. Am I the asshole for telling my father-in-law that he's not the man of the house? Sorry in advance, this is going to need a lot of context. I, am 29, married into a family that consists of father, M62, mother, F53, and 4 daughters who for the sake of the story I'll call Anna, F32, Laura, F31, Jessica, F29, and my wife Sarah, F28. All the sisters are now married with me and my wife being the last ones to do so. My Phil worked all his life in blue-collar jobs, which is not bad, but he believes that blue-collars are the only acceptable jobs for men, and since none of us work blue-collar he's always making snide comments about how we're not real men. Mill and the sisters are always excusing him, and for the most part we let it go. Despite how Phil remarks how important it's for men to have manly jobs, the reality is he's always been kind of a moocher. He stopped working around 40 and my wife's maternal grandparents footed the bill for him and Mill. Then they left them some inheritance which they live off with our occasional help. When the pandemic started my in-laws' finances weren't great, so they burned through the inheritance faster than usual and eventually lost their home, so the family helped. First they stayed with Jessica, who lived closest to them, then with Anna, and since April with me and my wife, and it has been awful. This man will complain over your traditional sexist stuff if he sees me cooking, cleaning or anything that isn't repairing my own car. Also he hasn't helped at all. Doesn't pick after himself and expects to be served 24/7 in an instant. He demands to be fed first by his wife as he's the man of the house. I hate this phrase since he doesn't even do the chores that are traditionally manly, like taking out the trash or minor house repairs, and he has acted like this in the other houses he stayed at. Last Friday we had a small barbecue with my in-laws. Everyone arrived early to help, except Phil, and when he arrived, he only complained everything was done wrong and how he could do it better, but when given the chance he always said, "It's not my job to teach us how to do a man's job." So the 4 of us were really annoyed, and like always the girls defended him. When it came time to eat he demanded the biggest steak as he was the head of the family, Anna's husband was serving and he told him that he would give the biggest piece to Laura's husband since we were guests at his house. He flipped and demanded to be respected as the man of the house, so I simply said, "You're not the man of the house." This angered him even more, and finally I added, "And you haven't been in a while." That cut things short, and after eating Phil and Mill left to a hotel and demanded to stay with some else because of my disrespect. My wife and sister-in-laws are super angry at me and say I should just understand he's from another time and not confront him, but my brothers-in-law say this is way past due and he needed the wake-up call. At the time I felt justified, but with everyone angry I feel like I may have overstepped. So Reddit, am I the asshole? You spoke truth to your Phil and now he's out of your house? That's two good things, op. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You served him the best meal of all. A slice of humble pie. Not the asshole. That man is ungrateful, sexist, and entitled. Toxic masculinity at its finest. The real man here is the one who drew the boundary. Well done, op. Not the asshole. Plenty of older people move with the times, he's just a jerk. It sounds like you're better off now as he doesn't want to stay with you. I don't even feel bad that your wife is caught in the middle. It's one thing to let your significant other handle their family, it's another to spend months living with constant belittlement. She the asshole, along with the rest of the enablers. The man of the house, even if it wasn't such a ridiculous concept, it's not his house. The nerve. I say not the asshole. It doesn't matter if he's from, another time, he's in 2021, he needs to learn respect and how things are currently. He's been allowed to be that way and they just don't want the conflict. Maybe that is how they do things, but there is no reason that you should have to sit around and take the disrespect. You or anyone else, because as I see it that is what it comes down to, respect. If the girls keep letting their father's misogyny slide, they likely had a volatile, verbally abusive relationship growing up and don't want to rock the boat. Imagine him raising 4 girls? You said what needed to be said. He's the patriarch of the family, but he's not the man of the house, since it's not even his house. Let him stew about it. His ego will likely result in a fractured relationship for quite some time, but honestly, it sounds like this time apart will give you and your wife much needed alone time. Not the asshole. Phil and Mill left to a hotel. Good for them. Now he can be the man of this hotel room. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, it's not his house. He doesn't even have a house.